I want to touch on like the work of the center in a second, but like I'm curious, like as a professor, right? Like of leadership studies. And you can explain what that means because I just did heavy air quotes. Like, how are you bringing that into the academics of how you're preparing your students to navigate the leadership world?
Well, I'm a sociologist by training, and
Mhm.
I had no idea what leadership studies was when I first arrived, frankly. And I think we're all sort of figuring it out because it's not a traditional discipline,
Mhm.
which means it's interdisciplinary by nature. And so you have, you have sociologists and you have economists and you have psychologists, all kinds of folks with different backgrounds making sense of what leadership is all about. And we have a fairly critical, in the good sense of the word, take on leadership studies. That is, we're primarily focused on grassroots leadership or leadership that is, non-hierarchical in its focus, and leadership of nonprofits and leadership of educational systems. How do you lead well? And so for me, two questions keep coming up that are basic restorative questions. Like for a leader, um, can you lead in a way that builds community, that that helps an organization or a team or a school, um, work well and thrive together? So that's a fundamental restorative practice, right? Circles for community building. And then as a leader, how can you effectively respond to conflict and harm? Those are standard responsibilities of leaders, is responding, successfully to that. And we have answers to that in restorative justice. So leadership studies for me is just another way of talking about restorative justice. But that framing is helpful to me because I think largely in the restorative justice movement, we're good at training facilitators, but not other aspects of restorative justice leadership, like building a program, changing policy, lobbying, advocacy, evaluation, assessment, all these things that keep a restorative organization going are not the things we teach in a skill building training. And
Mm.
in fact, the people that are drawn to restorative justice are probably natural facilitators and may not have skills in these other areas and really need support. So that's what we're doing here at USD. Our main, we offer training, but we recognize that training is insufficient and that our trainings were and are still limited by two things. One is that when you offer a skill building training, even if it's a multi-day, 3, 4 days, people come to the training without basic knowledge of restorative justice, and you have to spend a lot of time teaching about restorative justice. And then you also bump into people's resistance or skepticism. And so you have to spend time overcoming this or working with it. And so that just takes away from skill building. And then on the other side of the training, people leave the training, and even if they have a fabulous, life-changing experience, they go back to wherever they're from, and that doesn't mean they can immediately implement or will have the opportunities to use those skills they just developed. And so we designed our certificate program as a 3-course sequence to address those, like a what is restorative justice course, that's the academic one, and then a skill building intensive to learn how, and then a practicum that's designed to support new apprentice RJ facilitators in developing their skills and becoming more confident, as well as becoming leaders and either sustaining or building new programs in whatever sector that they're in. We get a lot of people from different systems. So you get somebody from a hospital or from a nonprofit organization or probation or a elementary school. So they're coming from a variety of contexts, and they go back and they often have the same question of like, what do I do now?
Mhm.
I need help, and I need help from people who are in similar contexts, with me. And so we have a network of mentors who help them, who have particular expertise in whatever area they're trying to work in. So we have a certificate program, and that raises all kinds of questions about professionalization and elitism, and we're sensitive to that. And it's a true conundrum because we're trying not to be exclusive, and we also recognize that there's a lot to learn, and that people are hungry for information and hungry for support. And so we're as best we can trying to be sensitive to that. And so we offer a lot of that. Our solution is we spend a lot of time creating a strong scholarship program. And so we offer a lot of scholarships for people to participate in our certificate program.
Mm-hmm.
And our program is for graduate students here at USD. And they can do the certificate as part of their degrees, master's or PhD program. Or people can do it through our professional certificate. So they're not affiliated with USD, but they're, like I said, a teacher or a probation officer or an assistant district attorney or whomever. And they want the skills, and so they can do our program as well. We get, of course, because we're known for higher education, we get a lot of administrators and faculty from across the country who want to bring restorative justice to their campuses.